Unseen. That's the word most travelers use when Alberta reveals itself. Imagine mountains so vast they rewrite your sense of scale. Lakes so blue they look unreal. And sand dunes rising like a desert in the heart of Canada. If you enjoy documentaries like this, please subscribe. For every new subscriber and comment, we are donating $10 to charity to support people affected by natural disasters and those impacted by ongoing conflicts. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and share. Your support truly helps our channel grow and continue creating meaningful content. Now, back to the documentary. Here, the Rockies meet prairies, and ancient rivers carved landscapes older than most nations. Glacial rivers crash and twist through canyons, their icy turquoise waters glowing under the sun like liquid gemstones. In the east, Badlands, once home to dinosaurs, reveal fossils that changed science forever. And everywhere you look, nature defies expectation, until you realize this isn't a dream. So pack your curiosity, open your eyes, and come explore Alberta, a land where every corner will leave you speechless. Everyone wants a photo that stops the scroll, and Abraham Lake might just be it. Beneath its icy surface, thousands of methane bubbles are frozen in place, creating one of the most jaw-dropping scenes in the Rockies. No Instagram filter needed. This is nature at its most surreal. The lake was created in 1972 when the Bighorn Dam flooded the North Saskatchewan River. It is Alberta's largest reservoir, stretching more than 32 kilometers long and covering almost 54 square kilometers. Even though it is man-made, the water is bright turquoise because of fine rock particles, called rock flour, carried from melting glaciers. The lake sits at the edge of the Kootenay Plains, a wide area of foothills and open landscapes in the Canadian Rockies. It was named after Silas Abraham, a Stoney Nakoda guide who lived in the region in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The water levels change throughout the year, and the lake sometimes reveals rocky beaches and wide shorelines that weren't visible before the dam. Abraham Lake is easy to reach along the David Thompson Highway, making it a popular stop for travelers exploring the Rockies. Before we continue, here's a quick question for you. In what year was Alberta established as a province? Comment your answer below. Millions of people come here every year searching for peace, silence, and untouched nature. They arrive in a land that covers more than 6,600 square kilometers of mountains, forests, and ice in the Canadian Rockies. This place is Banff National Park, Canada's first national park, created in 1885. Back then, it was called Rocky Mountains Park, long before tourism changed the landscape. The mountains here were not gently formed. Between 80 and 55 million years ago, layers of ancient rock were pushed east and stacked over younger rock beneath them. Over time, water and ice slowly carved those mountains into sharp peaks and deep valleys. For millions of years, glaciers covered much of this land, pressing down with enormous weight. Today, only parts of those glaciers remain, clinging to mountain slopes and ice fields, like the Columbia Ice Field. Long before visitors arrived, Indigenous peoples lived in this area for more than 10,000 years. They watched the land change as ice retreated and forests grew. Now, the town of Banff sits in the Bow River Valley as the park's main center. Wildlife still moves through these forests, from elk and moose to grizzly bears and bighorn sheep. But this fragile balance is under pressure. With more than 3 million visitors each year, Banff is now fighting to protect the very nature people come to experience. Did you know the name Mistaya means grizzly bear in Cree, reflecting centuries of Indigenous connection to this canyon? Mistaya Canyon in Alberta is carved by the Mistaya River, famous for its curved limestone walls and dramatic scenery. Over thousands of years, flowing water sculpted deep channels and smooth rock surfaces, shaping the gorge we see today. Tributaries from surrounding mountains constantly feed the river, maintaining its power and the canyon's ever-changing forms. A short walk leads to a viewpoint where the steep, winding canyon stretches below, revealing nature's patience and force. Indigenous peoples traveled through these lands, recognizing the Mistaya River as a vital and sacred part of the valley. Today, Mistaya Canyon remains a serene yet awe-inspiring destination, combining history, culture, and breathtaking natural beauty. From above, Moraine Lake looks like a jewel cradled by snow-capped peaks. Its turquoise color comes from rock sediment carried by melting glaciers, which scatter sunlight and give the water its unique blue. The lake sits at 1,884 meters above sea level in the Valley of the Ten Peaks. It covers about 50 hectares and reaches a maximum depth of 14 meters, holding a large amount of fresh glacial water. The water does not reach its full level until mid-June, when summer melt fills the lake completely. The surrounding mountains are snow-capped year-round, creating a sharp contrast with the green pine forests along the shoreline. Visitors often climb the rock pile for the most famous view, where the lake and 10 peaks are reflected perfectly. There are hiking trails around the lake, suitable for both casual walkers and experienced hikers, with opportunities to spot marmots, pikas, and local birds. Moraine Lake is only accessible from June to October because the road is closed in winter, and the lake is fed entirely by snow and glacier melt. Every part of Moraine Lake shows how glaciers, mountains, and forests work together to create a landscape unlike anywhere else. The Athabasca River begins high in the icy Columbia icefield, deep inside Jasper National Park in Canada. From this frozen start, it flows more than 1,200 kilometers, slowly carving its way through some of the wildest landscapes in the country. Much of the land along the river is protected, which helps keep the forests, mountains, and wildlife just as nature shaped them. The river's name comes from a Woods Cree word that means a place where plants grow one after another, a gentle picture of green life lining the banks. As the cold blue water moves north, it grows wider and stronger, gathering streams along the way, winding through emerald forests that invite canoeing, fishing, and quiet moments in nature. Far beyond this spot, the Athabasca continues its long journey north, carrying the spirit of the mountains all the way toward the Arctic Ocean. Would you love to stand by this river one day? Drop a 1 if yes, or a 2 if it's now on your travel bucket list. In the late 1800s, Canmore was not a tourist town at all. It was a coal mining settlement, officially named in 1884 after a Scottish king known as Big Chief. The name came from Malcolm III of Scotland, and in the Old Gaelic language, Canmore meant exactly that, a powerful leader. Just a few years later, in 1887, the first coal mine opened, and the quiet valley began to change forever. Miners and their families arrived, drawn by work and survival, not by scenery. Coal powered homes, trains, and industries across Canada, and Canmore became part of that hidden backbone. In 1886, even Queen Victoria granted the town a coal mining charter, sealing its role in the nation's growth. By the 1890s, a Northwest Mounted Police barracks stood on Main Street, keeping order in this rough working town. Life here was hard, shaped by cold winters, dangerous mines, and long days underground. Today, those same mountains are still here, but most people never realize what this town went through before it became a place to visit. Edmonton is the capital city of Alberta, located along the North Saskatchewan River, which runs straight through the heart of the city. Long before Edmonton became a modern city, this land was home to First Nations peoples and the Métis. In 1795, European traders began building trading posts in the area, and Fort Edmonton slowly became the main center for the fur trade in Western Canada. The city remained small for many years, until the railway arrived in 1891, bringing new people, supplies, and growth to the region. In 1904, Edmonton was officially recognized as a city, and just 1 year later, it was chosen as the capital of the new province of Alberta. As Edmonton grew, it absorbed nearby towns like Strathcona and Jasper Place, shaping the large city we see today. One of Edmonton's most unique features is its River Valley Park system, the largest continuous urban parkland in North America. Edmonton is also known as Canada's Festival City, hosting cultural events year-round, even during cold winters. We gathered information from many different sources. If anything seems incorrect, or if you have something to add, please leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. More than 14,000 years ago, long before modern cities existed, people stood on these shores. They called this place Water of the Spirits, and they believed something ancient and dangerous lived beneath the surface of Lake Minnewanka. According to Stoney Nakoda legend, a man once climbed a high mountain above the lake and looked down into the water. From that height, he believed he saw a fish so large that it stretched across the entire length of the lake. This sight led him to believe the lake was home to a powerful water spirit that could not be controlled by humans. Because of this belief, the lake was feared and respected, and people avoided traveling near it alone. They said spirits could be heard near the water, even when nothing could be seen. The bright turquoise color of Bow Lake doesn't come from magic or minerals. It comes from tiny rock particles crushed by a glacier, carried here by melting ice that has been moving for thousands of years. Those particles come from the Bow Glacier, which slowly grinds the surrounding mountains as it moves. When the glacier melts in warmer months, the meltwater flows directly into Bow Lake and brings that fine rock dust with it. Bow Lake sits at an elevation of about 1,920 meters in the Canadian Rockies, where cold air helps preserve snow and ice most of the year. The lake lies just below Bow Summit, with views of the Wapta Ice Field, Bow Peak, and nearby glaciers. Even though Bow Lake sits along the famous Icefields Parkway, it remains much quieter than nearby Lake Louise. Banff is the highest town in all of Canada, sitting more than 1,300 meters above sea level. It is also one of the only towns in the world located completely inside a national park, and by law, it is not allowed to expand its land at all. The town covers just under 4 square kilometers, making it small enough to explore on foot or by bike. Banff sits inside Banff National Park, Canada's first national park, which was established in 1885. About 96% of the park remains protected wilderness, where forests, rivers, and wildlife are left untouched. Because the town cannot grow outward, life in Banff is carefully planned to fit within strict federal rules. This unique balance is what makes Banff feel both like a real town and a part of the wild mountains around it. The city began as a small Rocky Mountain outpost for the mounted police. Its fortunes changed in the early 1900s when oil was discovered nearby, attracting business and investment. Over the next century, simple cow towns and mom-and-pop businesses gave way to shimmering office buildings. By 1988, Calgary's growth and its location near the Rockies earned it the honor of hosting the Winter Olympics. Today, Calgary is known for its strong economy and high standard of living, with a mix of industries from energy to technology and film and beyond. And if you think Calgary is impressive, keep watching, because the landscapes and places beyond this city are even more surprising. The Bow River begins high in the Canadian Rockies at Bow Glacier and Bow Lake in Banff National Park. From there, it winds through mountains and foothills, eventually joining other rivers to flow all the way to Hudson Bay. This river isn't just beautiful, it's also very important for drinking water, farming, and even hydroelectric power in Calgary. Along its 587 kilometers, the Bow River passes through stunning places like Banff, Canmore, and the wide Alberta prairies. The river is famous for world-class trout fishing, with thousands of fish swimming in its clear waters. Rafting and paddling are popular too, but watch the currents. They can be tricky, so life jackets are a must. If you prefer walking, the Bow River Loop Trail in Canmore offers easy trails with amazing views of the Three Sisters and Rundle Mountains. Every summer, insects like caddis and mayflies hatch along the river, attracting huge fish that thrill anglers from all over the world. No matter how you explore it, by boat, by rod, or on foot, the Bow River promises adventure, beauty, and a touch of magic in the Canadian Rockies. Victoria Park is a beautiful park in Edmonton, Alberta, right by the North Saskatchewan River. It was named after Queen Victoria and opened over 100 years ago in 1914. The park is part of a big system of parks connected by trails, so you can explore a lot on foot or by bike. There are smooth paths for walking, running, biking, or even skating, so everyone can enjoy it. In winter, people go snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, or skate on the 400-meter Victoria Park Oval. The rink is protected from strong winds, so skating is comfortable even on cold days. There are also many picnic areas, some with roofs, perfect for lunch with family or friends. Victoria Park is a place where you can relax, play, and enjoy nature right in the heart of the city. Over 70 years ago, a single oil well tapped into the Devonian Formation, and a whole town rose along the North Saskatchewan River. That town is Devon, Canada. It all began on February 13, 1947, when the Imperial Leduc No. 1 well struck oil, one of the largest discoveries in the world at the time. Almost immediately, Imperial Oil needed a place for its workers to live, and Devon was carefully planned from the ground up. In fact, it became the first Canadian community approved by a regional planning commission, designed to be both functional and welcoming. The town takes its name from the Devonian Formation itself, which in turn was named after Devon County in England. While oil shaped Devon's early economy, today the town has grown beyond the wells, welcoming tourism, research, and manufacturing. Despite its small size, Devon carries a big story, a place born from energy, planning, and ambition, standing as a testament to Canada's resource-driven history. Carnarvon Lake is a stunning alpine lake located in Kananaskis country, on the border between Alberta and British Columbia in Canada. The lake sits at a high elevation of over 1,632 meters above sea level, giving it clear, turquoise-blue water that looks almost unreal. To reach Carnarvon Lake, visitors must hike a challenging trail of about 20.4 kilometers round trip, with most of the path climbing steadily uphill. Once you reach the lake, you'll find a serene alpine basin, perfect for resting, taking photos, or even camping under the stars. Some visitors bring fishing gear because the lake has been stocked with trout, offering a quiet chance to fish in its pristine waters. Carnarvon Lake's remote setting and breathtaking scenery make it one of Alberta's most beautiful hidden natural treasures. Standing 190.8 meters tall, the Calgary Tower dominates downtown Calgary with its slender, elegant profile. Originally called the Husky Tower, it was built to celebrate Canada's centennial in 1967 and to help revitalize the city's urban core. Construction began in February 1967, and the concrete column was poured continuously for 24 days, a feat that amazed engineers at the time. When it opened in June 1968, it was the tallest structure in Calgary and the tallest in Canada outside Toronto. Over the years, the tower has undergone renovations, including the addition of an LED lighting system in 2014 that can display over 16.5 million colors. Today, the Calgary Tower is not just an observation deck. It is a symbol of the city's growth, ambition, and enduring skyline. Medicine Lake is nestled within Jasper National Park in Alberta, Canada, about 20 kilometers southeast of the town of Jasper. At roughly 7 kilometers long, the lake is relatively shallow and sits in the scenic Moline Valley. Unlike most lakes, Medicine Lake is actually a geologic anomaly. The Moline River flows in and then disappears underground, making the lake appear and vanish with seasonal meltwater. During the summer, runoff fills the lake like an overfilled bathtub, and as the water slowly drains underground, the lake level fluctuates constantly. Researchers in the 1970s discovered that the underground river system is one of the most extensive in the world, tracing connections to many surrounding lakes and rivers using biodegradable dye. Medicine Lake is home to healthy populations of rainbow trout and brook trout, making it a paradise for fly fishing enthusiasts. Wildlife is abundant along the lake, including grizzly bears, black bears, mule deer, caribou, wolves, moose, and mountain sheep during the summer months. Bird life is also remarkable, with bald eagles and ospreys hunting the lake for fish and nesting nearby. High above the town of Canmore, grassy lakes shine with an emerald color that seems almost unreal at first glance. The upper and lower grassy lakes sit at about 1,525 meters in the southern Canadian Rockies, inside Canmore Nordic Centre Provincial Park. These lakes are fed by water from the Spray Lakes Reservoir, giving them their clear and striking appearance. Grassy lakes are named after Lawrence Grossi, an Italian immigrant who arrived in Canada in 1912 and later worked in the Canmore coal mines. After leaving mining, Lawrence Grossi became a respected climbing guide and built several trails, including the one leading to these lakes. Just 20 minutes south of Jasper, Marmot Basin spreads across a mountain landscape built for winter adventure. Marmot Basin is located on Marmot Mountain inside Jasper National Park, surrounded by wide alpine terrain. The ski area offers 91 named runs across 4 mountain faces, with a vertical drop of about 3,000 feet. 7 lifts move nearly 12,000 skiers per hour, making Marmot Basin one of Alberta's major ski destinations. The ski season usually runs from mid-November to early May, thanks to cold temperatures and reliable snowfall. The calm surface of Battle River hides a path shaped by movement, survival, and conflict. Battle River flows for about 570 kilometers through central Alberta and western Saskatchewan. It drains a large area of farmland and energy-producing land before joining the North Saskatchewan River. The river begins near Battle Lake and Pigeon Lake, southwest of Edmonton, then flows east across the plains. Battle River is named after historical conflicts between the Cree and the Blackfoot that occurred along its banks. Over 1 million people visit Johnston Canyon every year, yet many are surprised by how narrow and hidden this place actually is. Johnston Canyon lies inside Banff National Park, where a small creek has carved deep limestone walls over thousands of years. The main attraction of Johnston Canyon is its waterfalls, which remain active and visually striking in every season. Unlike long mountain trails, Johnston Canyon offers high scenic value over a short and mostly flat distance. Access to Johnston Canyon is free, which has helped make it one of the most popular destinations in the region. Mount Rundle looks like a single mountain, but it is actually a long ridge stretching more than 12 kilometers between Banff and Canmore. This shape exists because Mount Rundle is built from stacked layers of rock that were tilted instead of standing flat. The mountain is made mainly of limestone, dolomite, shale, and sandstone formed between the late Devonian and Mississippian periods, over 300 million years ago. Geologists describe Mount Rundle as a natural rock sandwich, with hard limestone layers at the bottom and top and softer shale in the middle. The Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise began as a simple rail chalet in 1890, built to welcome guests arriving by the Canadian Pacific Railway. From the start, the hotel was placed directly on the lakeshore, facing turquoise water and the Victoria Glacier rising above the valley. This location sits inside Banff National Park, Canada's first national park, and part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Over time, the modest chalet grew into the grand Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise, while keeping its close connection to the surrounding wilderness. The hotel operates year-round, allowing visitors to experience skating and skiing in winter and hiking and canoeing in summer. Instead of standing on pillars in the river, the Walterdale Bridge was designed to touch the water as little as possible, and that decision changed everything. The bridge crosses the North Saskatchewan River in Edmonton using 2 steel arches, each rising 56 meters above the water. These arches are supported by large concrete thrust blocks placed on both riverbanks, which removes the need for permanent in-river piers. This design allows ice, debris, and seasonal floods to move freely along the river without damaging the structure. The new Walterdale Bridge opened in 2017, replacing the original 1913 bridge that had reached the end of its safe working life. Construction began in 2013 and required complex planning to build a modern bridge in a busy urban valley. The finished bridge carries 3 northbound traffic lanes and includes wide crossings for pedestrians and cyclists. Long before roads or railways existed, the North Saskatchewan River was the main highway across the Canadian prairies. Flowing 1,287 kilometers from the glaciers of the Rocky Mountains to central Saskatchewan, the river eventually carries its water to Hudson Bay. For more than 10,000 years, Indigenous peoples depended on the North Saskatchewan River for travel, fishing, hunting, and seasonal camps. From the 17th to the 20th century, the river became a major route for the fur trade, linking the interior of Western Canada to Hudson Bay. Canoes carrying furs, food, and supplies traveled downstream each spring, following the ice breakup toward trading posts such as York Factory. Explorers like Anthony Henday and David Thompson used the river and its tributaries to map the region and search for routes through the Rockies. By the late 1700s, nearly half of the canoe travelers reaching Hudson Bay had come through the North Saskatchewan River Basin. Today, the river still flows past cities and farmland, carrying with it the memory of centuries of movement, survival, and connection across the land. Alberta is a land of contrasts, where towering peaks meet endless prairies, and every turn reveals a new surprise. From the bustling streets of Calgary to the serene waters of Medicine Lake, there's always something to capture your attention. Every corner of Alberta tells a story, waiting for someone to notice the details, the rivers, the forests, the tiny towns with their own secrets. It's a place that encourages exploration, inviting visitors to wander, discover, and connect with both history and nature. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and see you in the next adventure.